Greetings, my noble knights. It is I, Blaze Templar. And this is one of those teams that falls into the incredibly annoying category. Now, incredibly annoying doesn't necessarily mean good stall. It just means incredibly annoying. In this case, we'll just have to get into it so you can see what's going on, why I say that, and all that. So this team I kind of threw together for the fun of it. I just wanted to have a Focus Sash out, or it was originally going to be Life Orb, but then I noticed that I needed Focus Sash so I could check a couple of threats that otherwise could run over my team. But anyway, got dual Scarfers and Scissor and Hydreigon. They, of course, are spamming the U-turn and all that fun jazz. Fortress to get rid of hazards, set up rocks, Volt Switch out, Pain Split. Just generally defensive tank of annoyance. Politoed for rain. Jellicent because of Special Wall. And, of course, like I said, the Mega Alakazam. So, Hydreigon and Scissor kind of work together to whittle down the opposing team, and then Alakazam's there to finish things off, basically, while your walls are the Politoed, Jellicent, and Fortress. So let's see how that works, but like I said, this is not your traditional battle. Anyway, Arcanine comes in first. I could go for the Stealth Rock right away, but I really don't like seeing that Arcanine, so we're just going to go straight to Politoed, get that rain up, and we are physically defensive, so that's nice. But he does burn us, super annoying, and then he also has Attract, so this is obnoxious. But thankfully, I do break through the Attract. It's a 50% chance of attracting, and I just go straight for Encore. This is actually a big deal, because then I can switch to a female Pokemon like Arcanine and do whatever I want, and since he is attracted, I can just set up my rocks. He knows that. He's just going to get a Shed Ninja in before the rocks go up, which is probably the smartest move you can make. I'm just going to switch right to Scissor, as I'm not really too worried about the Shed Ninja, but he does burn me, which is unfortunate. It will mean Scissor is going to be kind of reduced in how effective it is, but Choice Scarf U-turn is still pretty useful. I am going to just go straight for the Pursuit, though. I want the Shed Ninja dead. He's going for the Confuse Ray. Yeah, like I said, this is one of those annoying teams. And I could get hit. Thankfully, I don't hit myself in Confusion, and I just take down Shed Ninja. Anyway, Pursuit takes it out. In comes Seismitoad. Now, this thing could be a Swift Swimmer, which would be a bit of an annoyance, but considering how the rest of the team is playing, I'm not as worried. Plus, I do have Fortress, can kind of deal with Seismitoad to an extent. But turns out it's more of a mix set, which is a little weird, and I'm just going to stall it out with Toxic. I don't really have any point to, do anything else. And right now, I'm not going to go ahead and use Scald, understandably, as it could have the Water Absorb ability, and I'm not trying to help it out. So I'm just going to recover, get back up to decent, go into Fortress, as this is the last turn he has, and he will go down. So that worked out okay. Stealth, or all that fun jazz. In comes Eevee. I don't know why anyone would bring Eevee. Mostly, I'm sure it's just to be, like I said, a really annoying troll. And it's definitely a Violite, has some really high investment on the defenses. I'm just going to Toxic this thing. He goes for Shadow Ball, and clearly he has no investment in the special attack stat, and it's all defensive based. So I'm just going to go ahead, pull the hard switch, mostly because I don't know what this Eevee has, and I'm just trying to find out. It's got the double-edged Shadow Ball and Hidden Power, but I'm not sure what all it has, and I'm kind of concerned. But at this range, he is quite low. I think U-turn should take it out. Doesn't, because this Eevee apparently is immortal, and Wish means he's going to go down to the Toxic. Fortress is unfortunately in a bit of a difficult situation, but I decide I'm just going to stay in and go for the Volt Switch. If he goes for the Flame, or, Wild Charge, or not Wild Charge, the Flare Blitz, that's fine. I should be able to take it in the rain, as I am physically defensive and half damage from the rain, so it's only a double super effective attack. But he burns me instead, that's fine. Annoying, but fine. I'm not really going for attacks, and I'm just going to Toxic this thing. If you're going to try to be trolly against me, that is A-okay. I will just Toxic your things and then take you out with a Scald or two. So this works out all right. This turn, he's going to go for the Flare Blitz as his last move. I guess he didn't have some of the other moves he could have. And that will be it for that. And now I honestly thought he'd go into Jolteon, but he goes into Liepard. And so I'm kind of concerned about like the not knockoff, but Night Slash or something. And Fortress can deal with Liepard no problem, so I'm just going to go straight to Fortress, and it has Seed Bomb, so close enough. But Gunk Shot, I'm immune to. Maybe he thought I'd just pull an immediate switch, but I didn't. U-turn should take it out at this point, and I'm just going to go straight back to Fori. If he goes into his... or he has to go into Jolteon now, and honestly, Fori won't take a Thunder. I'm fine with that. Just let my Fortress go. But he goes for Double Kick. I don't know why. I'm going to just Pain Split now. And so this team was incredibly obnoxious because it just focused around like Attract, Will-O-Wisp, and Confuse Ray, which was incredibly obnoxious. For him, I'd recommend, if you want to make that team more effective, consider moves like Rest, consider moves like Rapid Spin to keep rocks off, to keep your Shit Ninja alive. Honestly, I'd probably recommend something other than Shit Ninja. Honestly, Sableye would be a really good Pokemon for these kinds of strategies. You can Taunt, Encore, or I don't think Sableye gets Encore, but you get the idea. You can Taunt, you can Recover, you can Will-O-Wisp, you can do all these really annoying things with Sableye, and yes, you can Confuse Ray. So, the reason why I made this particular battle video, if you will, is to show how not to do annoying stall. If you want to do annoying stall, your better bet is something like Sableye, Prankster, and this is assuming you're talking Gen 5. Otherwise, Confuse Ray is pretty much useless. And Taunt is a pretty good option. You could go for Nightshade or something like that just so you have some damage output, or even Substitute. That actually could be incredibly obnoxious and go like that, especially defensive. This set here with like leftovers would have done the Shed Ninja's job way more effectively and been way more annoying to actually take out. For your, I don't know, some of your other Pokemon, I'd have to relook at the video, but yeah, something like Sableye would have been a much better choice for that kind of annoying strategy. For a fast electric type, you could have chosen Zapdos. And it actually gets Thunder Wave, Roost, Heat Wave, Thunder, that sort of thing. So it can actually be quite a good Pokemon for that kind of utility that you're looking for. For Arcanine, instead of going... Okay, I'm going to actually change the format to Gen 5. Doesn't really matter what, so we'll just do that. Get out of the Ubers. Okay, so for the Arcanine set, instead of that, honestly, Fire type isn't the best for that, but you could probably go Heatran. You can get your Stealth Rocks up, Toxic, Protect, that sort of thing, and Magma Storm to trap in. That can be an incredibly annoying strategy to use against someone, so... something like that could be very annoying to deal with. And again, this is all just kind of focused on this idea of being in a nuisance. So, yeah, things like that, definitely more effective, in my opinion. Jellicent, another ghost you could use that could be quite annoying to deal with, so forth and so on. And so, really, I'm kind of terrible giving people the idea of how to be evil and annoying in stall instead of just being kind of silly. So that's kind of the thoughts there. Honestly, that is quite frustrating to deal with, but honestly, it's really not that big of a deal if you have the right Pokemon for it. And most competitive players will be well prepared for ridiculous strategies like that. Speaking of which, probably the most annoying strategy, which anyone who knows what they're doing can deal with this without a problem is this one. Those are basically the two moves you need. Right there. Copycat and roar. So you spend your first turn roaring, second turn copycatting, and you just keep doing that over and over again. But to do that effectively, you need to have hazard set, stealth rock, spikes, that sort of thing. The more hazards you have, the better. So something like Fortress plus Riolu is a pretty common combo. Have it spike your spikes, have Heatran or something else put up your stealth rock, and then have Riolu go onto the field safely without any hazards up, understandably, and just copycat or go for roar the first turn and then just constantly copycat and wear them out, because it's a +1 priority roar basically, and so that can be annoying. But that strategy is quickly ruined by priority. It's ruined by weather, and it's ruined by things like toxic if you're not careful. So those are some of the annoying strategies that people will use and have used. Some of these actually carry over from generation to generation. Most of them actually originated in Gen 5 thanks to the Prankster ability. Another one was with Pineco, Pain Split, and I don't remember what item it uses. I'd have to look that up, but basically the set idea here is you Pain Split over and over again and have Toxic Spikes on the field and you win. Basically is that idea, and you have it level 1 again. I think it might be like Leftovers as your item, just to, or not Leftovers, but like the Heal Berry, just so you can get up a layer of Toxic Spikes. Let's see. Berry Juice, that's right. Berry Juice, Pain Split, Toxic Spikes, that sort of thing. And you can also use Recycle if your Pokemon has it. Pineco doesn't, so you can't go with that. But in this case, like first turn, you Toxic Spikes, get knocked down to 1 HP, Berry Juice pops, you're back up to a full HP, and then you can just Pain Split over and over again. Ideally, it's against a Pokemon that already has been status, like burned or something. And so you just keep doing that again and again and again until it's done. Is it a silly strategy? Kind of pointless? Absolutely. But hey, things like that exist. So, those are some of the major strategies of annoyance that you can encounter. To deal with them, with Sableye, best way to deal with it is priority, as Sableye is actually not that fast, and if you have a hard-hitting priority user that can take it out because of like rocks and stuff, giving it residual damage beforehand, pretty effective strategy. Otherwise, setting up a substitute of your own will cripple Sableye quite a bit. Sure, you might get burned, unless you're like a fire type. You might get Confused Raid, which would be annoying, but if you have a substitute up, you'll snap out of it, and then what are they going to do with you once you have a sub up? So, things like that really do shut Sableye down really quick. Zapdos, just hit it really hard with super effective attacks. That takes care of that, no problem. Heatran, this set, honestly, is kind of situational to deal with, as Magma Storm kind of traps and makes things a lot more difficult. But if you have like a poison immune ground type, like, oh, I don't know, Gliscor, and just Earthquake it, it'll take it out, no problem. Toxic Heal, Gliscor, something like that can deal with it, no problem. Otherwise, all you have to do is kind of break through and just deal with the Protect Toxic shenanigans. They'll have to play this one a lot more carefully than other sets. Riolu, priority deals with this no problem. So, oh no, I'm down to 1 HP. Roar. Oh, you roared me into, say, something like Infernape. Mach Punch. Oh, I win. Pineco. Honestly, easiest way to deal with it is weather or status. If you toxic this thing, it doesn't really matter anymore because then you break it sturdy with the toxic or the Will-O-Wisp, and then you take it out with whatever you feel like. So yeah, it's really not that big a deal to deal with, thankfully. And so every annoying strategy has its hard counters, and that's why it hasn't been banned, and I doubt they ever will be banned. But those are some of the strategies you also need to look out for, and that battle I showed you last kind of showed how not to do those strategies to begin with, and hopefully this is kind of insightful too. But I've rambled on way too long, so I'll see you next time. Goodbye.